Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Appalachian Home Co. So today I'm so excited to start doing some fall projects. I'm going to be using my Cricut machine to do some of these. If you don't have a Cricut, you can always just cut out some patterns or buy some decals. But the first project we're going to do is I Love Fall wood sign. So you're going to need some chalk paint in the color black, some Mod Podge, and also a little foam brush. I also cut a piece of wood that is 3.5 by 19.75 inches, and I'm using a decal I cut with my Cricut that says I love fall most of all. I'll leave a link for this file down in the description, but I'm just sanding off the wood and wiping it down so that my decal sticks. As I said before, I also cut this decal out on my Cricut Maker 3. I have tons of videos on my channel on how I cut decals if you want to watch those to see exactly how I did this. But I'm using the Cricut Maker 3. It has the smart materials. I'm not using a mat with these. After I got the decal cut, I just removed it from my machine. I weeded out all the parts I was not going to need, and I applied this clear transfer tape, and I'm just going to be transferring the decal directly onto the wood. Honestly, this project looks great as it is, but I wanted to go a step further. So I'm going to be adding this Mod Podge just to seal in this vinyl, because I'm going to be painting over this stencil, and I'm going to be removing all of the letters and the border to give this a really cool effect. So I'm just layering a really thick layer of Mod Podge just to seal in all of the edges before I paint. Now I'm going to give this a really good covering of the chalkboard paint. You want to make sure to layer this so that your paint isn't too thick and it doesn't bleed under those letters. I usually let mine dry for about 10 minutes and then go ahead and start to remove the letters. Next is this felt pumpkin banner. This is so cute. I saw these, I believe, at Kirkland's and wanted to recreate them, so I picked up some just regular felt at the craft store, either at Walmart. Some of this came from Walmart, like this dark gray, and some of these came, I believe, from Hobby Lobby, but these are easily found colors. I'm going to be using my Cricut Maker to cut these out, but you can also cut these out by hand. And if you do have a Cricut Maker, you want to use a strong grip mat. I'm going to leave a link to this particular project down in the description box, so if you have Cricut Design Space, then you can just click on that link. It will take you directly to this project. All you have to do is click Make It and go from there. I'm going to be using the Cricut Maker 3, so I'm going to choose to put these materials on the mat, and you can see here on the left of my screen I have them already lined out for you. So we're going to be doing the green one first. I'm going into material settings and I'm changing the material to Felt Craft Bonded. I'm just typing in felt at the search bar and selecting this material here. It works well with this material. I'm also going to be changing my tools. You just go to this edit tools icon, and I'm going to be using the rotary cutter. This works much better than the fine point blade when you are cutting felt. So I'm just going to go ahead and switch that out in my machine, and then you're just going to load your mats as they pop up on your screen, and it will cut everything out for you perfectly. You should have 6 cutouts for each color pumpkin. That's going to make 3 pumpkins. So what you want to do is you want to line those up in 2 layers, and I'm going to use a sewing machine just to sew these together. You can use fabric glue if you want to. If you don't sew, that works perfectly fine, but I'm going to be sewing mine together because I like the decorative edge that it gives to these pumpkins. You want to keep in mind though to leave a little opening at the top. You're going to be putting in your stem and also going to be putting in just a little bit of stuffing to give these a little bit more dimension. Once you're finished putting your pumpkins together, you should have 9 in total, 3 of each color. So now I'm going to be stuffing these with just some batting, or you can use polyfill, whatever you have on hand. I just picked up something I had on hand. You only want to put in just a small amount of stuffing, just enough to give these a little bit of fullness. You don't want to stuff these completely full because then your banner is going to look funny, but I'm just putting in probably just 1 handful of stuffing to each one of these pumpkins. Now I'm going to cut some string. You want string that's at least 72 inches long. I'm also adding about 6 to 8 inches on each end of extra length so that I can tie a knot on each end. Then I'm just going to be stringing those pumpkins up along this string. Later I'm going to be gluing them into place. Now I'm going to measure out and make sure all the pumpkins are spaced evenly. I'm going about 8 or 9 inches away from each end, and then I'm going to start a pumpkin in the center and then just space them evenly out from there. I'm just temporarily putting in a pin so that if I need to move these before I glue them, I can. And then I'm going to go through and hot glue every one of these down once I'm happy with the placement. And now this is ready to hang up with your fall decor. Okay, so for this DIY, you're going to need some water slide decal paper. I'm just going to use a regular printer to print off my designs onto this. And this frame I actually found at Ross. It was $4.99, but it's super neat for this project. It has a frame, it has glass in the middle. You can either slide a picture in between the glass, but for this one, I'm going to be putting a design on the back and then putting my water slide decals on there just to make a cool little fall frame. I'm going to put some cardstock, actually put it on the back to see the design better. So you're going to need a couple pieces of white cardstock. And then I'm going to be using one of these fall colors. This is Tech Wrap Craft Vinyl, and I'll be cutting a design out with my Cricut. I don't know if I'm going to use orange or like this peachy color. This is like a orangey beige, and then this is a beige color. So I'm going to pick one of these after I have my image printed out. And I got my designs. I designed them in Canva. If you want to see a video on how I do that, I'll link it up in the cards above, and then just uploaded that into Cricut Design Space. And once you have that uploaded into Design Space, you want to make sure that this part is set to a basic cut, and you want your pumpkin and pumpkin pie set to print then cut. I've also drew a rectangle the size of my frame, and I've resized it again to make sure that this fits. So now we're going to go ahead to make it and make our project, it's going to ask you to do your print and then cut first. So I'm going to use the water slide decal paper in my printer. I'm going to go ahead and print that out along with the registration marks, and then I'm going to cut out the vinyl decal. I'm going to leave on the bleed so that when it cuts it, it will have enough color around it to not have any white borders. I'm also turning on the system dialog, that way I can go into my printer I'm using and change my paper settings, which I'm using glossy photo paper and a high quality setting for this paper. I am taking Mod Podge acrylic spray, and it's in a matte finish, and I'm going to spray 3 layers of this over the decal. If you don't do this when you submerge them in the water, the colors are going to bleed everywhere and you're not going to have anything but just a ruined mess. So I'm spraying 3 coats of this spray, letting them dry between coats, and that way when you submerge these in water, then your colors are not going to bleed. Next, I'm just going to put them in the Cricut machine, and for this cut setting, I am using a heavy cardstock that's going to cut completely all the way through this paper, and then all you're left with is your decals. Next, I cut out the vinyl decal, and I'm just going to weed it and place some transfer tape. Then we're going to go ahead and place all of these onto our frame. On this particular frame, I just had to open the tabs and remove both sheets of glass, and there is 2 pieces of glass in here. I'm going to be placing the decal on the front of this piece of glass, and then I'm going to sandwich it in between the front piece. So I just cleaned off the surface really good. I'm going to go ahead and line everything up. I'll be placing the decal first and then the water slides. Now we're ready for the water slide decals. For the water slides, you're supposed to submerge these in water from 30 to 60 seconds, I believe, for this brand. I left mine in the first round for 30 seconds, and you're going to see here it did not come off really well the first round because I should have left it submerged a lot longer. And the second round, you'll see here in just a second, I did submerge it for a whole minute, but this one came out a little bit choppy looking, but this is the second round. I left them submerged for at least 60 seconds, if not longer. They came off smoother and they did turn out looking better. Even though the pumpkins still look a little bit choppy, I'm just getting used to using this water slide decal. So if you have any tips or suggestions on using this type of medium, then please leave them in the comments. I would love to hear them. But I'm going to go ahead and assemble my frame back into place. You're going to see this did actually turn out really cute. I would definitely do it again. I love the 3D effect that this vinyl decal and these water slide decals have against the white back of this frame. So all in all, this turned out great. This is one of my favorite projects. Here are all 3 projects completely finished. Let me know which one was your favorite. I love the fall sign. It looks like a Kirkland sign they have in their store, so it's definitely giving me Kirkland's vibes. I'm also loving this felt banner. I'm gonna make so many more of these felt fall items. I saw some little pumpkin cakes in a store that I want to recreate. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I got lots more fall videos coming up on this channel, so subscribe and stick around for that. Again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys in my next video.